Hello and welcome back to Adventure's Edge, Heroes of the Vale, Episode 2. My name is Don and I'll be the Game Master for this campaign. Again, we are playing Pathfinder 1st Edition with some homebrew rules in the world of Tellus, a Discworld filled with magic and mystery. I have the full cast back and we will continue to do introductions for the first few episodes. With me today, Rochelle.
I'm Zinnia.
Glow.
Hello, I'm Bramble.
Matt.
I'm drunk.
I keep thinking trunk is like, sometimes I hear drunk.
I do too.
Sorry.
The goal is eventually you will not be able to tell the difference.
All right, Jeff.
Tommy.
And Thad.
I'm Darun.
All right, well, how's everybody doing?
Great.
Excellent.
Good.
Excited to start. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. We had a bit of a long episode 1. Everybody kind of started finding their way through their characters, trying to stay on their voices for an hour and a half. I'm sure you all remember exactly what you sounded like.
For sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zinnia's ready to go.
Nice. All right.
The dwarf is strangely silent.
Strange.
Deep thoughts. Okay.
He was unexpectedly dour first session.
Yes, I'm working on my voice. I was feeling under the weather. I don't know. Maybe I got caught a little bit of the
I mean,
I
you
don't know if I drink water
did
before.
have a little bit of a
yeah.
something going on there, and it was like, wow, this guy.
Yeah. I just tried to say, what would AI sound like? So I'll punch it up a little bit, give him to the spirit of things.
Well,
I've been practicing.
he was living with that,
Ugh,
that other
can you
old
imagine?
guy, and so maybe he just needs some companions to bring a little bit of joy into
little
his
sun and
life.
fun.
That's right.
Yep.
So a year of living with this crotchety old dwarf just really rubbed off on you.
That would do it.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Don't bring me down.
Cutting his toenails and just
Why is that the place we went to first?
that's where we went.
Wow.
You guys started asking questions why I was quiet.
Man.
If you don't like the answer, don't ask the questions.
Every character has their tragic backstory.
It wasn't losing my parents or anything like that. It was like cut this dude's toenails.
I've seen far too much.
It's more tragic than most, actually.
And back then they didn't have clippers.
Why are we doing this?
No, like
I want to get the whole. I wanted this to be almost like an imagination of our listeners. Please listen more after this. Do not turn this off.
yeah, 1,000 people are just like, oh, gross, and click.
Okay, and
We'll have to add content warnings now. Whew. Well, that happened. All right. Well, we're gonna dive into this. I think that is the way we're gonna try to do this show is kind of minimal banter, maximum play, and then we will probably have a banter show at some point here.
Mhm.
Maybe after a few more episodes. We're also going to normally have a recap, and I think we're going to normally try to have a player do a recap. But we really didn't discuss that this time, and they're all looking at me blankly. So I will do the recap for this session, and we'll see if we can get that distributed out over the next few sessions. So episode 1 saw the heroes beginning to come together. We started out with a sick child, Brina, who is Tommy's younger sister, and we learned that Zinnia has been living in the eaves in her room now for an indefinite period of time, teaching her how to speak the Fae language and making fairy chains and stuff. But the child was sick. She sent for help, and her friends came. So we had Glow and Trunk get summoned from the Fae. I just said Glow. But, Glow's such a fun Fae name.
It translates.
It does.
Your middle name.
Yeah. Bramble blow. Yeah.
We had, man, we're going to be, this is fun. We're a little punchy today. All right. We had Bramble and Trunk come to the town of Ravenrock. And there they came across a dwarf, a somewhat surly
Very
dwarf,
somber.
who was out seeking help for his sick mentor, Umros. And then he guided them up to Tommy's house, or Tommy's parents' house, where Tommy had been summoned by his mother. And then everybody met at the Gundersons' house. Little chaos ensued. And then you guys made your way eventually down to the Roots and Remedies place, where you learned more that there's a lot of sick people. And I think my favorite line of the episode was we were playing Pathfinder, the CDC edition. Yeah. And then you all went on and started looking around for the source of the problem, where you ended up at one of the town wells, where Zinnia did a recon mission and returned with some black growth that was down in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had called it a moss, but it really was a fungus.
Mm.
And we ended with most of the party sealing off the well and Zinnia racing back to the Roots and Remedies with the sample.
You got it.
That's that's what happened.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
All right, so we're gonna fast forward just a little bit, and we're gonna pick up the action when everybody has returned to the Roots and Remedies. The crowd has largely dispersed, and Zinnia has been there for a little bit, and the rest of the group has shown up, while Laurel has been rooting through a pile of books, trying to find any information she can on this mysterious fungus, black scour. All right, and we'll begin. So, Laurel's in the back, and you can hear her rustling around with the books, and then she comes up to the desk and starts laying them out as all of you are kind of gathered around inside. She'll start out by saying, "I know I've heard of something called black scour. That's just vaguely familiar. Like perhaps it's something in one of my mother's books that got passed down." And she pulls up this kind of dusty old book and starts flipping through pages. You can see a kind of really crazy scrawl all in it. It's almost illegible as she's, just carefully going through all these old brittle pages and looking at. You can see sketches of various wildlife and of various flora in there. And eventually she stops about halfway through the book and she's like, "Aha, I think this could be it."
Okay, so what does it say?
Well, I'm reading through here and it looks like it's an old cure from, I think she got this one. Actually, maybe she got most of these from the old hag, Urizmila, who lives out in the forest. I see. It definitely looks like a cure for this black scour and possibly some others. I have most of these ingredients. It looks like there's a few in here that I don't really recognize, though.
The forest?
The forest.
Do you know of this hag? Have you heard this hag's name? I'm turning my face to the wood folk.
To the wood folk. Our three forest dwellers. Well, actually, everybody could technically roll a knowledge local, but I will give the forest dwellers a bonus to that roll.
14.
9.
I got a 3.
I can't believe that Trunk is winning here at a glorious 11.
No, that's he won.
No, I got a 14.
Oh yeah.
I get a forest bonus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Maybe you get
that's right.
extra forest bonus.
You get fish bonus.
Hey, man. I'm
Fish bonus.
I lied. I got an 8.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to know things.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I would say none of you definitively know who this person is. For some reason, I mean, Tommy, you feel like you've heard that name, but you can't imagine why.
Well, I've heard a lot of names. So,
Okay, well, that creates an interesting conundrum. So you have to figure out possibly more about her. But anyway, so she goes through this recipe book, and she says, "All right, well, I do have, like I said, I do have most of these ingredients, but there are 3 that I'll need to continue researching here.
Okay, what are these ingredients?
Well, the first is it's a pickled root called rat's tail.
It's pleasant.
The second is elderwood moss, and the third ingredient are iron bloom mushrooms.
So, do I know any of these?
Well, you may all give me nature checks to see if you do know them, and she is going to grab another book and start combing through to see if she can identify what they are also.
Got to 21.
Okay.
So
So
is this separate for each of them?
it is going to be a separate for each of them. Yeah.
Nice.
So for the rat's tail, that is a 23.
Okay.
Sounds like you've pickled a rat's tail before.
Yeah, you are familiar with those, and it is the trouble with those, you've heard of that as an ingredient, and it is a root. However, it can take months to properly cure.
Ooh.
Oh, but my good friend Bramble,
I've rolled a 25.
a natural 20,
Also on the rat's tail.
also on the rat's tail. And so, Bramble, does that mean that you have some at your place at home?
You don't,
Oh,
but you definitely concur, and you could probably find some in the wild, and you definitely could identify them, but they're going to take much longer to prepare. So you're going to need to find some that are already pickled if you want to make this remedy in time to actually save people.
I see.
Looks like we'll have to go to the hipsters in town.
Indeed.
I got 21 on the moss.
21 of the moss, the elderwood moss. That actually is a bit more obscure.
I have 24.
24.
Yes.
And that's also with your +4 bonus?
Plus 5 bonus.
Now, did you add the +4 for... I was giving you guys a +4.
For woodfolk.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't specify that. I'm going to apply that to that one. My brain jumped ahead. That one in particular, the 3 of you, the 3 from the wood, can also add a +4.
so no,
I
then
see.
that's
So
a
it's 20.
29.
Okay. Because the Trunk's like, I'm over here rolling. I don't know what you got.
Oh, I'll step in when you're done here.
Yeah, that one you definitely know. You've heard of that. And the trick with the elderwood is that it grows on only on the old growth trees. And there's the Fey legend that it tends to mostly start on the oldest tree in the forest, which
Yep.
That's the tree that Trunk was found by. Is
I
that
got
right?
some of that on my horns. So I got a nat 20 on the iron bloom mushrooms, modified by -5 because I don't know anything, +4 because I live in the forest for a grand 19.
all right, that
I got 25 on iron bloom mushrooms.
I'm out. I fold.
yeah, I kind of figured we would have some specialists on this.
Well, I'm vaguely familiar with the words wood or mushroom, but it's about as far as I got.
Trunk has heard of them, but you don't know you felt like if you thought about it perhaps a little more, and then it sounded like you got a 25. So the iron bloom mushrooms, they tend to grow near ruins, but they are drawn where the ground is particularly iron rich. They are known to sort of oddly be attracted in a Fey sort of way to places where there's been forges or different things like that. So I will then give you a knowledge local on that particular piece. I'm pointing over here at Thad for his character.
So you're giving me the +4?
I'm going to give you a +4 to this.
So
one.
15.
Okay. And this is actually a much lower DC because we had actually.
I can't compete with 29.
Ooh. No, this is actually something you specifically studied.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, there are some dwarf ruins north of the river, kind of at the edge of the Hollywood.
Sure. It's kind of near home.
Well, sort of.
Not quite north.
Yeah, you live on
North, right at the edge of the. I came from edge of the Giant's Teeth.
Yeah, we'll have to pinpoint that. I actually I found a town for you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, there is a town.
I have a home, an origin story.
So, Dairun, you might know where we can find the ironwood mushroom?
Yes, I'll have to think about it a little bit, but yeah, I think I can.
So, it sounds like the pickled rat's tail's going to be the problem.
Well, we'll just have to go find someone who has it.
Is it the Urzmil? What was her name?
The hag.
The hag.
She goes by her name, the hag. That's her. That's what she wants to go by.
You knew the name?
Yeah, I recognised it.
Do you think maybe the Otterkin is where you heard the name?
Could be. We could ask the Ottos.
You actually thinking of why you would have heard it? No, and I know exactly why you would have heard it. Because you work, down at the docks, and it has probably come up through some of the loggers.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a logging
Oh.
there is a logging camp just west of town, and it's possible that maybe some of them spoke of her at some point.
Sure.
So maybe somebody at the camp has an idea where they live, or she lives.
Well, we definitely check with the loggers.
I don't like the tree cutters.
I'm not a big fan myself.
They don't have a very good sense of humor.
That's true.
That's all I know about them.
Very true. Well, where do we want to start?
So Laurel is, well, it sounds like, because she's still like looking through her books. Well, it sounds like you've already puzzled out possibly where to get these. Does this mean you're going to go find them all? I don't know who else would right now.
Yeah, we could. Well, I certainly am going.
If it's going to save the town, I mean, it's for the good of the people.
That's wonderful. That is so wonderful. I'm sure everybody will be incredibly thankful, and no doubt the mayor and we'll spread the word that you're going to go get help.
The mayor, yeah.
I just want
Trunk scratches his head because he remembers being told that he was the mayor. I'm not sure what the mayor is.
So, do you have any kind of healing potions or something? Just checking.
Well, I mean, of course I do. Oh, I
Was
suppose.
there a discount, perhaps?
Well, she'll look at you thoughtfully.
Asking for a friend.
Well, I mean, the healing potion probably won't help your friend, unfortunately.
No, but it might help us. You see, this might be a dangerous thing to some.
It could be dangerous, I agree.
Yes.
The tree that we have to go to, not even the Fae will approach. It is a bad place.
My point exactly.
Well, I guess it wouldn't be fair to impose upon you to do this for free, even for the benefit of yourselves and your family and all the people you care about. But we do need you to survive and get back as quickly as you can.
Mm.
And, I mean, the truth be told, I may profit from this, and that wouldn't be right. So yes, I do have some healing potions that I can provide you.
If you could just write out how much you need of everything, because, we don't want to come back with just like a spoonful of sugar.
She did not ask for sugar. She has plenty of that over there.
Oh.
Well, I'm estimating right now there's at least 30 infected or so. So if you can, I'll write this out, and she will scribble this out and quickly hand you a note of how many she would optimally want of each of the ingredients.
I'll stash it.
And then she'll go to the back and return with 3 small vials of blue liquid.
Thank you kindly.
She will hand those to, I guess, your hands to distribute.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get one extra fairy-sized portion?
Maybe one of those is perhaps like 5 for you. I mean, that's got to be kind of. You can't consume the whole vial, right?
Well, I know, but I can't carry any of those on my person, so I'm asking if she can just give me one.
Well, you can. I mean, you can.
It's just half your size.
Do not worry. If you fall down, we will just pour it on top of you like a shower.
I think we can find something.
we-
I might have a smaller
Do
vial.
you have like a small, tiny vial with a cork top? We just split it.
We would like
I could
potions
also
in
just hold
venti
it for you.
and
You just have extra large. That's all you have.
He's supersized.
Zinnia wipes away a tear.
Zinnia, we
Well,
can
I
figure
was-
this out. Don't
do
worry.
not worry. I'll put it on my belt, and if you need it, just swing on by.
So we should probably go talk to the loggers because we have to find out where this hag is before we even go into your woods.
Indeed.
Hmm.
That's true.
We do not even know if you'll be welcome there.
Well, I'm sure we'll be just fine. People are typically good.
Mm.
I mean, that's been my experience.
My experience has been, don't go into the town. Everybody's terrible.
Well, you met us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoa, kind of hurtful.
I agree and give you a
Yeah.
I don't think I deserve
Pat my
that.
head, I'm sure.
muss up your hair.
Okay, then.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Do you asking for rent? Did you want to make any preparations before you go?
I probably have an adventurer's bag back home that I'd want to get some stuff together.
Yeah, I very clearly just grabbed a shirt earlier, so I should probably get my armor on and such.
Grab your sack and...
Yeah, I have a backpack.
Oh, wow.
I don't have like a trap.
I'm sorry. You probably make more than I do, actually.
I do.
Yeah.
Successful fisherman.
Okay, so at least the two of you who live here are going to go back to your respective places, grab your gear, and then Zinnia, Bramble, and Trunk, while they're running about, are you going to go with them, or did you want to do something else?
I would like to go check on Brina one more time.
Okay.
And just tell her what we found in like very gentle terms.
I will accompany you.
Trunk will probably just wander around town, making sure that the other wells aren't also infected.
That is a good idea.
How are you going to do that, Trunk?
I will figure it out. Maybe
Okay.
I'll just break all of them. Might be poisoned.
But then the people won't be able to have anything to drink.
I'm sure it rains.
So, okay.
Be safe.
You go check on Brina. She's still obviously quite ill, but you can see that her mother has given her some tea, and you give her the update that you're going to go get a permanent cure,
Yes.
just leaving out the fact that she's possibly dying.
Yes. I will not say anything about dying.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll wait here for you. I'm sure you'll be back soon with a cure.
Okay. Stay strong.
I will, Zinnia. I miss you.
I miss you too.
All right. And Trunk, you go and deface some whales, possibly, or
I mean, only if there seems to be evidence that these wells also share the same kind of, like, black scour. You know, pull up some water, sniff it, find an animal, see if it runs away from it.
You throw the animal down the well.
Oh,
Ow.
that one drowned. This is
I was
bad.
trying to just imagine a troll chasing around pets and animals. Here, drink this.
With a bucket of water.
I'm sure that it gathers enough people looking and closing their shutters.
Trunk
All right.
from air.
all right. You managed to check on at least two more. You don't see signs or any reason to make you think that they're also infected.
Excellent.
All right. And so Jeff, you go grab Tommy goes grabs all his gear.
Mm-hmm.
You're kitted out. So you got weapons and armor and backpack and all that good stuff.
All of it.
Full adventures kit. Nice. All right.
And I'll grab I've got like a trident kind of thing that I use for fishing. I'll grab that. That's the only weapon I really have, so.
Okay. All right. And so Thad, you go and check on Umros and
Was it Glenda?
Gilda.
Gilda? Yeah, I'll go tell Gilda. We're going to go find a cure. Please keep an eye on him. And if he gets worse, and then I will give her like information for the local cleric.
Okay.
Everybody needs their last rites.
She will, she'll seem, understanding, but also just like she hadn't really even considered that as a possibility. So you leave her a bit ashen-faced, but she was, I will keep close watch on him. Don't worry.
I will try to be as, solidly put my hand on her shoulder. It'll be okay. We'll find something for you.
Oh, I do hope so, Darun. I do hope so.
Me too. All right. See you later.
Okay. So then I would say probably within 40 minutes or so, you reconvene at the place that you established, no doubt, maybe back at the Roots and Remedies.
I would say so.
At this point, it is basically midday.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Let's go.
you're just going to head out.
We should just maybe go down and talk to the loggers and they can, if they're not very comfortable around them.
Zinnia is definitely not going to appear in front of the loggers.
Well, that's okay.
I will be hiding out.
Well, we can get closer and then maybe split off from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep, that works.
So far, I have not been uncomfortable around anyone. Some people seem to shy away from me, but not the other way around.
It's your large size.
Everyone is very small here.
Yes.
I thought maybe that would be different, but no, all short.
I would say everybody's big in the woods, but then, you got the fairy and you, and it's...
We are multi-sized in
Yes,
the
I
woods.
see that. You could check out the river.
So is the logging camp north
Just while we're doing this. I mean,
or west of the town?
It is straight out the west gate.
Okay.
Directly towards the woods. So I did refresh Roll20 for you here if you want to look at your maps to get an idea of the terrain that you're going into. The logging camp is about a league west of town, basically right as you enter into the forest down the road, which that translates to
I see it.
about a mile and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Let's giddy up.
Okay.
I'll ride on Bramble right now, if that's okay with Bramble.
Of course it is.
And as far as everybody's base rates, this is a mechanical question. I'm pretty sure that we're all moving at the speed of Darun, then assume your base rate of 20.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to just leave him in the dust.
you'll hear me complain a lot if that's the case. That is correct.
Okay.
Maybe Trunk can just
Trunk is definitely considering picking up the dwarf, but given discussions of reaching out, touching people, and size differences, Trunk's not sure yet. So he'll wait until he's asked for a ride.
Oh, I wasn't thinking ride. I was thinking picking up, throwing him ahead, and then then we catch up, and then you pick him up. And
It's a new
throw.
sport.
Yeah,
Dwarf.
Tosh me. Don't tell the elf.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I've lived it my whole life.
All right.
I would say, 20.
All right. So it takes about an hour and a half out the west road. It's a pretty simple walk. It's midday. It's still kind of cool. The sun again is high in the northern sky, and this section of travel here is kind of a mixture of there's some farmland, so you pass a handful of farms along the way. This actually used to be, back when the city was built, this used to be where the forest kind of came out through, but over the years it's obviously been harvested. So, I mean, the Fae folk know that there is a kind of an arrangement between the loggers and certain members of the Fae who kind of keep an eye on the forest there, but there's definitely people who are not happy with the progression of the deforestation over here.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, you quickly reach the logging camp, and it sounds like as you get close, some of you are going to go hide or kind of go off to the side or something? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, that's what Zinnia wants to do. Bramble, what do you say?
I'll keep a distance. I can still see everybody, but I'm not going to get too close.
Okay. So the two of you will kind of go off at a distance, kind of circumvent the camp, just staying out of sight, while our other three will boldly stride into the camp.
And Nipper's going to kind of stay near us.
Okay.
How does Nipper feel about Kodrus?
Nipper's
They
fine.
seem to get along.
Yeah, there's doesn't seem to be any conflict.
No. Okay. Just.
Well, yeah. I mean, it helps that Nipper's a familiar, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
he's a smart little fox.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, the logging camp is a pretty large operation. There's several dozen loggers that work here. They actually have there's tents and things where people will stay, but then they've constructed like an office for the people who actually run it. And you can see, yeah, most of them are out. I mean, it looks like some of them have just finished up their lunch, but many of them are still out working. You see piles of logs, and there's wagons nearby. So there's a lot going on. The sounds of saws fill the air. And as the three of you come walking into the camp, you can see that they don't get a normal, it's not like this is a private area, but they don't get a ton of just random people wandering into the logging camp with no purpose.
Sure.
So you very quickly catch the eye of at least a few of the loggers, and one of them will kind of at least pause, and he was kind of in the camp. Looks like he was just finished eating, and he walks over and, can I help you?
Would I recognize this individual? I assume they would come to town.
I mean, sure. I mean,
The loggers probably send down the river, send the.
Yeah, but I imagine they come into town at some point.
Yeah, they get some days off, right?
And my family owns the bar.
yeah. I mean,
You
sure.
can pull that line, huh?
Um,
We're here to collect your tab.
yeah, there's a good chance you recognize. I mean, at least from their face.
Sure.
Let's see if you start knowing everybody's name. It's okay. You want to I'll give you make a knowledge local to see if you can pull his name out of the air.
That would be 19.
That's Bernard Corbett.
And what's Bernard's status there at the old bar? That's exactly what I was going to do, by the way.
I'm sorry. Did you bring Mama with?
I did.
And he's definitely paid up.
Right.
They're pretty
Give him
good.
a coupon or something.
Yeah.
Coop.
So I'll if we're not quite to him yet, I'll wave to Bernard. Hey, Bernie. It's Tommy.
Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Tom. So I'll get a little tongue twisted at the beginning because I'm not super bright, but so I need to get some information. I was told maybe you had it.
Me?
Well, you, the loggers, all of you. I need to find out where the egg is.
He just cocks his head. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Well, I was told that, it was possible you or one of your mates would know where the old Ela is.
Let's go ask Mylan.
Sure.
All right, so he will kind of look. He actually doesn't, obviously. He looks at the
dwarf first, right?
Yeah, he looks at the dwarf first. I don't recognize these two. You're a big fella.
That is what I've been told.
You need a job?
No.
Now, these are a couple of my friends. We're on a bit of a trip,
Oh, off into the woods?
unfortunately.
You gotta take care. It's not safe out there.
Well, that's why I brought the big fella, right?
Yeah.
Look down at myself, wondering why that would matter.
All right. He will lead you over to a larger group of guys. Looks like maybe they haven't quite begun getting back to work, and they're kind of looking at some piles of wood and things. Somebody's got a broken axe, and they're talking about it. And yeah, Bernard calls out, "Hey, Mylan, Thomas here has a question for you."
You can call me Tommy.
Tommy, sorry.
Are you offended by Thomas?
Yeah, a little bit. That's what my parents call me.
Tommy. Yeah, Tommy. Yeah. So this other guy, he's a kind of a square-jawed guy, well tanned, short cropped hair. He comes walking over. What's going on?
Well, we need to find the old healer. You remember the hag that used to be in town?
Oh, the one in that old cabin somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to find her. You happen to know where she is in the woods? Or at least point out a direction?
I do. Why?
Oh, you haven't been to town, have you? There's a lot of sickness going around town. Might be nice to just camp out here for a few days, mates.
Oh, no, I just got word. My nephew's sick.
Yeah, Bree's sick. You know, little Bree?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's taken ill. So we got to find a healer.
Oh, you're gonna go get medicine.
Yeah, more or less. We got to get the parts, as I understand it, to make the medicine.
Apparently, she pickles rats' tails.
That's the unfortunate truth.
Huh. Well, if you can get, he's really not doing well.
Yeah, we're going to get as much as we can to make, all we can in the town.
All right. Well, yeah, sure. You got something to write with?
I'll pull out my parchment, my quill.
There you go.
Or I've got chalk and you can draw it on one of these stones here.
Draw on a stone. Mate, you got paper.
I know. Stone is like the earth's way of parchment.
Yeah, but it's a lot heavier. That's why they made paper.
We don't carry it. We just so we can visualize where it is.
But if we draw it on paper, we can take it with us and we don't have to visualize.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this paper isn't cheap. So I'll just go ahead and hand him the
Trunk's just baffled by the fact that anybody writes anything.
classic
down.
dwarf. That's right. Right. See, Troll gets it.
All right. So he'll take your parchment and your quill and said, all right, well, we're here. And he will basically do like a really high level, not terribly accurate sketch of this section of the woods and just kind of mark where he thinks her cabin is. Yeah, it's about basically about 2 leagues southwest from here.
Okay. That's great, mate. Absolutely appreciate it. We've got a couple of friends that we left behind. They're a little skittish. Is it any way I could take this parchment and just have them maybe clean up the edges of the map? They're from the woods, so they might be. I just want to make sure we get there. And I'm not terribly smart, you know that.
I mean, it's your parchment.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. And
My parchment.
and I'll take it.
Well,
It'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then and he said it was his nephew, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And would I know his nephew's name?
Evo.
Evo. Well, as soon as we got all the pieces, mate, I'll make sure that we get some to Evo. Okay?
Oh, that's really good news.
Yeah, it's on me too. We'll take care of Evo.
Ah, you're a good one there, Tommy.
All right, appreciate you. And then we'll head off I'll head off out of the logging camp. I don't know. You guys can follow if you like.
Apparently, I better leave or they're going to hire me. So.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't even ask if it was union. They may have given you benefits.
Trunk doesn't really understand the concept of working for money.
What's a benefit?
And Tommy was like, "Man, the logging business is good."
Well, let's go back to the others and find out if they know where this is.
It's great.
Yeah. So Bramble and Zinnia, you have kind of circled around. You saw they spent some time chatting, and it looked like maybe they were handing something over, and so you assume you could probably make it for the trees without being noticed and get safely out of sight, if that's what you wanted to do.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then the other 3 of you can kind of head in that direction. Once you kind of get into the tree line, I'm sure they will quickly find you.
You will never guess what people in the town do. They draw what they think trees look like to figure out where to go.
No, that seems like people.
You think you could take a look at this map and maybe figure out about where she lives? It's not super accurate based on what he was saying, but you might be able to pick it out, I guess.
I can take a look at it.
That would be great.
All right, Bramble, you take a look at the map. All right, you study it. Yeah, he's obviously not very artistic, but you know where you know where you live in relation to things, and start getting a sense of scale using that as a point of reference. With a little bit of study, you actually find it pretty curious that you haven't stumbled across this cabin.
Can I assist in some way?
Well, I mean, so Bramble thinks that they know. I mean, so yeah, you using the pen, you can probably add a few other little details in. And yeah, you think you know the direction to go. You know, once you guys get into the forest, somebody's going to do some navigating, but should not be too difficult.
If she has lived in the wood for this long, she probably has some kind of magic to keep herself concealed.
Yes, because I do believe I recognize this where this is, but I have not seen this cabin before.
Well, it is time to go knock on some trees and see if a hag answers.
Okay, let's go.
It must be a phrase they use here in the woods.
So
It's not familiar.
this moss, this elderwood moss, where does it located? All around, or the big tree you say, right? But that's in the middle of the forest?
Yes, it's where we found Trunk.
Okay. So we go get the pots first.
So go get the what?
The pots for this hag.
I mean,
Oh. You're like the rat's tail.
Yeah.
I thought it's...
You said parts. Oh, you said parts.
Yeah, pot. It's pots.
I thought you said pots.
No, it's not what I said.
We need to find the rat's tail first, because if we don't find the rat's tail, then the rest of it doesn't even matter.
Let's go
Everybody
visit...
will be dead.
I thought he said pots, like clay pots. He said,
Oh.
meant to say parts.
Parts.
I said pots.
We call it parts.
That's what I said.
You said pots.
No, it's not what I said.
Okay, so let's go.
okay, so you...
You said it right.
I love how we actually have in-character confusion about the language. So that's really fun. Blending in-character and out
Gotta
of
hold on
character.
sometimes when Tommy talks. We've all seen My Fair Lady.
That's hurtful.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So as you begin walking through the forest, do you guys, now that you are working together, do you kind of have a marching order? Who's taking the lead in this venture?
Well,
I suppose I might be taking the lead if we are in the forest.
I was absolutely hoping for that. Tommy is no good out in the woods.
Does Bramble have a survival skill?
No.
I will say.
Yes, you
Oh,
do.
I do.
I would hope so.
But it's not very good, and neither is mine.
Oh.
But you know what? I do have a Nipper who has a very good survival skill. So Nipper's going along with us, and Nipper is helping us with, surviving.
Good. I'll be in the back with Kodros.
Okay.
We'll caboose the survival.
I don't know what that means.
I'll be just in case they miss something. I'll be
I think it means following and
caboose. Yeah.
going, yes, I helped.
That's how I take part of the
See?
glory.
He understands my language.
It's a dwarven term.
It's caboose. Yeah.
Okay. Then you begin making your way, and let's go ahead. I'm not going to make this terribly difficult, but give me a survival check then. So it sounds like you said, so I don't know that Nipper, Nipper really can't read the map. So I think, what is your survival skill?
Well, wait. I'm going to tell Nipper where I want to go.
You're going to tell Nipper where you want to go.
Yes. No, that's not how it works.
That's
Trunk's probably explored enough of the place, so
I mean,
I can step in and help.
I
I've got a +3.
I don't want to say too much, but I've got a +8 survival. And I've got a wolf here who's got, a survival as a skill too, and he can smell stuff.
Would you like to go in front then?
I was going to caboose, but just so I could, I can go behind you.
You know that myth of the alpha wolf leading from behind is not true, right?
Yes, well, I'm trying to be polite. This is your home, not mine.
Well, the alpha wolf is a myth all in itself. But we can talk about that later off air if we would like, because it is actually one of my pet peeves.
Oh, I will want to know this. I didn't say anything about alpha wolf. Oh, that was not me.
It's based on a flawed study of wolves in captivity.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So it's a 14.
Okay. You guys are going to be amazing. I can't wait to see where this goes.
I'm intrigued. Perhaps around the campfire.
Okay. Well, it is not that difficult since you have a map and you are familiar with navigating the forest. But, once you're out of sight of, the sun and whatnot, it's still easy to get kind of turned around. But you have some good assistance here, and you make your way pretty quickly. So it's about 2 leagues. So moving at Derun's caboose rate.
Gotta be careful. We don't need to run everywhere.
No, you don't definitely need to run everywhere. So
Do you know how to run?
I do. You guys call it walking.
I wasn't going to say that, but that has been what I've
I'm
noticed.
sorry, my whole body is yours one stride.
all right, so it takes you about 2 miles. Takes you about 2 hours. So we're getting towards the middle. Well, probably about around 3 or so. About when you get there. Important to keep track of that. So, yeah, you start getting near the area that you think you should find. And I am actually going to change your map again. Ooh.
When Coders gets a little bit older, I'm going to jump on her back. Then she'll go much faster than all of us.
That would be a big wolf.
Well, it's what they call a level 7 wolf.
Is that what they call it?
Yes. It's translated loosely in Norvish. It doesn't translate very well.
It's got a
There's
different
no
ring.
English word for 7th level.
I'm finding that to be a pattern here.
Let me grab your people here. You should see the map. You're going to be coming in on the bottom of it.
Mm.
Kind of a small map. What are you saying?
Wow. Did you really just say that?
I've
did.
seen bigger maps.
Oh.
Good Lord.
Why? Why would you say such a thing? Can we not say those kinds of things?
But to be fair, he's thinking about my computer at least, and not,
No, that really
shutting
wasn't,
down the whole program.
wasn't any bit of a concern of mine.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
The gauntlet has been laid, I guess.
All right. So if you could all verify you've got control of your people, I'm going to drag you over here to the path.
Okay, now I see my people. Now this is a big map.
Oh. Hello, Nipper.
I'm like, I thought it was a decent sized map.
Yeah, no, I was just looking so far away,
Oh, you were just like, you weren't at the right zoom. And
Right. It's my fault. I apologize. I'll never question the size of your map again, Don.
as you really should not. That has played with me long enough to know that I really like pushing the limits of technology and
Yeah.
how much Roll20 can accommodate.
Roll20 knows him as that guy.
That guy, all the servers are peeking out like, there he goes with that 200 by 200 map again. We said just because you can doesn't mean you should.
And yeah, I got control now.
All right. So you are still kind of in a younger growth part of the forest. Again, it's kind of a cool day. The trees are tall and somewhat dense, though. And you've managed to come across looks like a game path that is going in the direction that you want. And Bramble and Zinnia have been leading their way down the path. As you continue through the woods, you can see up ahead there appears to be a clearing.
Oh.
All right. Oh, she says.
Oh, that looks suspicious.
All right. If you want to go ahead and move your pawns towards the edge of the clearing.
Could I check the game trail here to see what kind of activity is going on recently?
Sure. Give me a survival check.
That is going to be a 25.
All right. You pause and get down and study the ground. And yeah, you can see that, game has been coming down here. Probably a mixture of small game, but definitely some deer or elk and some larger things.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you
But just game, yeah. No bipedal activity.
Yeah, you don't see any signs of humans, fey or otherwise, that you would recognize.
I'm more on the lookout for like signs of collecting and gathering, like things planted, things clipped off of, like cut off of roots and things like that.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Perception. That is a 21.
Yeah, so there are no signs of anything recent. You do see, as you get closer to the clearing, perhaps there was where things cut. You can see where somebody did probably get some firewood, like some small, where some small trees were brought down, some gathering, but nothing fresh.
Okay. Would I be able to kind of gather like how long ago we're talking? Because if this is the area that she's living in, there should be like signs over, months and years of activity, I would imagine.
So yeah, there definitely would. I mean, if you were to probably go in and start really looking to see, over the years.
Okay, so just nothing so far.
You don't see anything fresh, like nothing within months, maybe 6 months or more. So things have started to regrow. But as you get closer, the dense and thick brush of the forest give away, and they seem to be parting in front of you, where you can see a large clearing, at the center of which you can see a small cabin that looks quite a bit dilapidated. And surrounding the cabin in this large glade, which is about 100 feet across, you can see they almost look like scarecrows, but maybe a little bit, mostly made out of wood. They're not made out of straw. And the clearing is a bit overgrown, but the most prominent thing in it, there is an unusual tree planted somewhat near the house, and it actually looks to be like maybe like a cherry blossom tree. Now, Zinnia and Bramble, I need you both to make a will save.
So Zinnia's will save is an 18.
Okay.
Yes, it is a 9.
All right. So Zinnia, you said you're kind of riding on Bramble's shoulder.
Sorry, no. You should see on the map that I am now riding on Nipper.
Okay. So you've kind of ridden out a little bit ahead. Everybody's moving maybe semi-cautiously as you get into this clearing. And Bramble, you begin to feel uneasy. And you think to yourself, maybe we really shouldn't go check out this cottage. And almost just unconsciously, you just kind of veer and just start turning around. And you were thinking maybe just going back the other way.
All right. Do I express this to other people?
No, you literally would start doing that. And everybody else would just kind of notice that. It looks like you're just kind of not hurriedly, more casually. You're just like, Bramble turns around and starts going the other way.
Wait, hey, Bramble,
Yes.
what's going on, mate?
I don't have a great feeling about this place.
Is it, what kind of feeling?
You find yourself, Bramble, like still just walking away. It's like to you completely unconsciously, like you're really not even aware of it. You're just like turning around and you're walking away.
Trunk, grab Bramble.
Was there a please in there? I walk over, kind of poke Bramble on the shoulder. Bramble, I think the wood is getting to scramble your brain again.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, you'll know how some trees are like, do not come here with their colors, and I think maybe you are afraid of knot trees.
Maybe. There's something telling me to not go towards the cabin.
So you end up walking, and probably assuming everybody else pauses for, you just walk back down the trail for probably like 50 to 70 feet, and then you can pause and look around and just feel a little bit befuddled.
All right.
And so as Bramble does that, so Trunk, did you like grab them, or are you just like kind of walking with them?
Like if while I'm, trying to talk to Bramble to continue moving forward, now I'll probably grab and hoist kind of thing, because it's feeling kind of enchanted forest level at the moment.
It is, yeah.
So sorry about that. And just do a little fawn pickup.
Then, Tommy, you would pretty much reach the edge of the forest, pretty near. Looks like Zinnia and Nipper.
Sure.
And give me a perception roll.
Perception. Something I'm really good at. That is a 7.
Okay. I mean, you look at this clearing and these weird fetishy. Scarecrow really is the wrong word, but you don't have the right word.
Sure.
There's like little creepy mannequin things that somebody's made.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't notice anything. I mean, it all just feels a little weird and uneasy. Darun, at that point, you were in the rear.
Mm-hmm.
Bramble walked by you.
Mm.
Do you want to just kind of keep going up near Tommy, up into this clearing?
Yeah, I'll just keep going up front. Corda's probably leading the way
Okay.
in front of me there.
All right. You go and give me a perception check also.
It's going to be a 14.
All right. So yeah, you study the clearing. You still don't see any signs of recent passage.
Mm-hmm.
But thinking about your survival check and what you were looking for earlier, you do notice the absence of like wildlife in the clearing.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that the game, the tracks you did see, don't, like, none of them continue on.
Mm.
Like this little trail, it becomes progressively more overgrown as you get near the clearing, and then it's just kind of like a wild patch of grass, this rundown old cottage ringed by these fetishy things, and this strange cherry blossom tree, which is certainly out of place. So, Trunk, you bring Bramble, who seems to have regained their senses, back up to the edge of the clearing where Zinnia is sitting on Nipper. What do you guys want to do? We'll kind of just go back to you, Rochelle, with Zinnia, since you were sort of in the lead.
So Zinnia just wants to plow forward and call out, like, as the silly fairy that she is, and like she'll take off of Nipper's back now that she sees the cottage, and calls out for Ursmelia? We need your help.
Your tiny voice seems to get lost in an almost muffled silence of the glade. You don't hear anybody call back. The barest hint of a wind blows through, kind of causing a couple of the fetishes to twitch a little bit in the breeze.
Mm.
You have a moment to kind of study them, since you seem to be, you sort of pick up a lot of details as you're glancing around, and there's something unpleasant about them. It just particularly seems to unsettle you, which you really, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but I don't get a sense that Zinnia gets unsettled easily.
No.
Yeah, so that's probably an uncomfortable feeling, I would think. You notice that these fetishes are shaped like either like tiny men or imps or rearing serpents, and they're just propped up in the yard as if they were kind of guarding the cottage against the outside world.
Okay, well, I'm just going to fly over them.
Is this just me, or is this a bit weird?
Well,
Seems so.
it's a hag. Hags are weird.
Oh, I don't know much about them.
Well, me either. This is just, I imagine they're weird.
As I approach kind of hand in hand with Bramble, are you experiencing a similar desire to back away from the area, or has that passed now?
It did pass. I mean, you still feel uneasy, but if you set them down, they don't seem to be wandering away.
No, I won't run away this time.
Looking at the scarecrow kind of constructions, I can't imagine that Trunks had much experience with like a legit scarecrow or whatnot. Faye probably comfortable with whatever happens in their little gardens, yeah?
Sure, yeah. But I would think that the idea of little fetishes, that might be more familiar.
Sure.
I think we're still kind of fleshing out what Fae culture looks like, but I have to imagine that concept is not unfamiliar, but maybe just not like this, and definitely maybe not like the, get out of my crops sort of thing.
Mhm. Well, it seems that this place is warded from unwanted visitors, so maybe we either make ourselves very welcome or so unwelcome that our friend has to come out and see what's going on.
Well, either way, we need what she has.
All right, time is of the essence. I will walk up to one of the fetishes and just push it over.
Oh my.
Apparently, Trunk's thing is destruction of, like,
Property.
Yes.
who knew?
I like it. I mean, we're learning a little bit about each of you. They're sturdy enough that a strong breeze would knock them over. But yeah, it's, you walk over and, it's just basically like it's hammered into the ground, but you could very easily just sort of lift and push and then it just falls flat.
Okay. Like, without trying to actually damage them, I'm just gonna, pluck them out, put them over, and see if that seems to have any impact on the area around us.
Oh, okay. So you're going to basically circumnavigate the cottage and systematically knock them all over.
I mean, probably only in, like, the front facing area first.
Okay. Okay. All right. So while you are doing that, Zenny, are you still calling out?
So if there was no response the first time that I called out, then I'm just going to proceed forward and I'm going to check out the strange possible cherry blossom tree.
All right. Bramble, what are you going to do while Zenny is checking out the tree and Trunk is knocking things over?
I think I will also go check out the tree.
All right. Jeff, what's Tommy going to do?
Tommy's up by Xenia, just kind of taking in, being on the lookout for anything that looks suspicious.
All right. Kind of gathering around the tree. And Darun?
I'm going to go a bit right to the tree, and I want to perhaps have Kodra say, Do you smell her, girl? And hopefully she uses her scent to smell, which she can, up to 30 feet.
Okay. I mean, go ahead and 30 feet, huh?
It's a DC 10 to pick something. That's what it says on here, but
Give me perception for Kodra.
I'm sorry. Thank you. That would be a 21.
So Kodra is definitely intrigued by the cottage in a negative way. So as you get close to the tree, and it looks like a lot of you are kind of examining it, you see Kodra's hackles kind of rise, and probably a little, just that maybe low growl, just looking at the cottage with some concern.
Is she in there, girl? I'm trying to get like an idea. Is there actually?
So she can't tell you that, but she will just kind of look at you and just a little growl.
Mm-hmm.
So Trunk, you finish knocking over. It looks like the front for these things. Is that?
Yeah. Does it seem to have had any impact on how people are navigating the area or the look of it at all?
I don't know if they express it, but you weren't specifically feeling, whatever was affecting Bramble.
Yeah, the fact that Trunk wasn't feeling the same concern about the area as the rest of the Fae is quietly, secretly problematic for me because I consider myself a fairy. But whatever.
But maybe it's the small fairy though.
Possible.
So it's maybe a size thing.
Right.
Yeah, as I would say, as you get, you knock over maybe the front four, whether they voice it or not. Bramble, you and Zinnia feel a little less uncomfortable.
Okay. With that kind of confirmation, I will cast Detect Magic and look at the area to see if there's any other kind of concentration of warding or illusion or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, these fetishes have an enchantment on them, definitely. It seems to be some sort of abjuration. If you would detect magic, you could study it with spellcraft and try to determine exactly what it's doing.
I mean, it's like a warding kind of effect, so I'm not too worried about scrutinizing the effect of that. I'm looking for magic beyond the fetishes. So I'll keep an eye out for any other source any other kind of spell that may be active in the area, and then I'll continue like knocking the rest of them over.
Like all of them?
Just the ones in kind of the front area. I'm not going to worry about like walking into the back.
Okay. All right. So while you were doing that, everybody else had kind of gathered around the tree, and you studied the tree a little bit.
Yes.
I mean, was there something? I mean, you know it's out of place, so it was clearly planted and tended to and grown here. Other than that, was there anything else specifically you were looking for?
Well, I want to know what kind of tree it is. Is it in fact a cherry tree? I mean, how old is it? Like, yeah. What can I understand about this tree?
It's not magical, correct?
It is not magical.
Okay.
It is a cherry tree.
Okay.
And I mean, cherry trees are native to Galtia. They are not usually grown in Shepherd's Vale. It's more, maybe people grow more apple trees here. So it was, I mean, probably brought in as a sapling or however it was grown here. It's very unlikely it just randomly planted itself here.
Okay. So it is a ornamental that somebody planted and tended to and has been like pruned and nurtured and
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera,
All
et
of that
cetera.
has been well tended, at least up until perhaps this season.
Oh, crap.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So there's no cherries? It's a cherry
Well,
tree?
I mean, it's in bloom right now, or it's
Oh.
right. That's what I'm seeing from the picture.
Yeah.
So there would be no, I mean, if it's
just a cherry blossom.
in bloom,
so-
it's, yeah. All right. So then with that information, then I'm going to fly directly to the cabin and see what I can see inside.
All right. So Zinnia just heads up to the cabin. Bramble.
I will follow Zinnia.
Seeing that, I'll speak up. You may want to wait just a few seconds.
Zinnia ignores all warnings.
And I will stop mid-track and freeze.
Yeah, because it's going to take Trunk, a couple more minutes to finish knocking the rest of these down. Because I assume you're probably like halfway around the ring at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Tommy, what do you want to do?
I'm up by Zinnia again. Just waiting for someone else to make a decision.
Bold. Darun?
I'm going to have Corda. I'm going to be a little bit more interested in what Trunk's doing. I see him probably doing some semantic poses, and so I can kind of get an idea he's casting some kind of magic to detect magic, and maybe I'll help him out so he can, if he needs any assistance.
Well, I mean, you could expedite things by
I will go over
knocking over these
and have
finishes.
Corda do it. Actually, who's stronger than me.
Okay.
I can give her a simple. I mean, she's got tricks,
Yeah, so knocking over Scarecrow Fetish, one of your
Yes,
handful of tricks.
It's
That's very, very niche.
A very specific feat.
I could probably go over and say, Corda, attack.
Push.
Yeah.
It's like
She's
it's
not an
like
idiot.
those dog shows where they like the dogs are trained to like
Right.
like knock open a door.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Yeah.
those? I love those.
So I could, go attack. Because that's one of her skills or her tricks. So
Okay.
there.
All right. Well, I won't.
And she'll be ripping it apart. And,
Attack fetish. Yes.
I'll kind of wince at the aggressiveness. I go, "Oh, I do not know if I would damage them."
Okay, Zinni, are you going to pause long enough for your two companions to finish knocking the fetishes over?
Well, I'm not opening anything. I mean, is there a window that I can look into?
There is a on the front of the cabin, and this is kind of like a small crux style house. There is a window. It is shuttered, and has some cracks in it, but actually nothing you can fit through. You can peek through them though.
That yes, I want to
And-
peek through.
The interior, you can see all of the windows are shuttered, so there's not a lot of ambient light inside. And from what you can see, yeah, it looks like cobwebs and some furniture and some shelves, but it's just really gloomy. Even with your low light, you don't see any movement or anything, and nothing is lit inside.
I'll tell Bramble and Tommy, who are right there. It doesn't look like she's here. Doesn't look like anybody's been here for a while.
I would agree, but it looks like security measures are still very functional, so 2 more minutes. And I'll continue knocking things around.
Well, with De'Run's assistance, assuming that nobody is going to bust inside yet, they can get those knocked over pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tommy will wait.
All right. So they finish getting him knocked over, and then you can make your way around to the front of the house where the others are just standing there by the door.
Is there anything odd of note on the back side of the cabin?
There's a kind of a wildflower. I'm not going to call it a garden on the very back side. Just wildflowers have overgrown that portion of the field. And kind of on the west side of the cabin, there is a garden that has been untended and has overgrown. It does have a lot of a mixture of flowers there. You notice there's kind of a weathered shovel just was left out.
Well, I've heard enough stories about plucking witches' flowers and whatnot, so I will avoid them.
All right.
All right.
We've called out for her, yeah? And she's not come out?
No, and it doesn't look like anybody's inside at all.
Okay.
Unless this is some kind of spell or glamour or...
Tommy, give it a hard knock, just in case she was sleeping.
All right, I'll give it a nice firm knock.
Boom, 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 boom. The door, it creaks a bit, but it is definitely solid and silence.
I'll do a detect magic.
On the door?
Sure.
Okay, no, fair enough. You sit there and shift your eyes a bit and examine the door, and you do not detect any magic on it.
Okay, then I'll use an open close on it, and to open it, not to close it. It's already closed.
But you could close it if you wanted again, right?
Yes, if I use another cantrip on it.
Oh, that's handy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, without some warning, Zinnia kind of points at the door and says something arcane sounding. The door quivers, but does not open. Tommy, you heard it just sort of like creak a little bit, and you notice that it looks like it's maybe either swollen in its frame or kind of shifted off of its hinges, and it might require some of your specialty.
I attempt to open it violently.
Use your open cantrip.
All right. You're gonna
called a shoulder.
Yeah, you're gonna give it a little shoulder or a kick.
Which is gonna look better? We're gonna give it a shoulder.
All right.
Back up a few feet. Excuse me. And then I'll just run and try to shoulder into it.
Lovely. Give me a strength check.
Oh,
Please.
just
part of me wants you to succeed. Part of me doesn't.
just strength, right?
Yeah, you roll and add your strength bonus.
So that would be a 16.
Lovely. Okay, you plow into the door, and it actually was less solid than it looked. Even though it must be rotted from the inside.
Sure.
Because you crash through it.
Okay.
Like it gives way and
Sure.
just comes off its hinges, and you propel it forward, a couple feet, where it eventually will like fall flat inside with a loud crash, sending dust and debris filling the tight space.
Sure.
But
And-
does he run through the other side of the building?
Oh, yeah.
Tommy the Kool-Aid Man.
I was just about to say, I don't think that looks structurally sound.
All right, so Tommy, you stand there basically just inside the door. Feel a little rush of exhilaration looking into the
Hello?
gloom, and
Anyone home?
you quickly glance around at the dull hearth that hasn't obviously been burning for ages, and there's a large cauldron in the center of the room. Again, dust has really filled the air, and you can see there's a rocking chair kind of almost straight across from you. that is rocking ever so slightly. And there's a figure in it that seems to be sort of like wrapped up in cloth or maybe a rotting blanket.
Sure.
And the smell of death and decay kind of fill your nostrils as you look at this creepy figure.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens next week.
Oh, no.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's great.
All right.
Let that be in your nightmares for a week.
Yeah.
Until next time.
All right.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed our show and want more, please leave us a rating and review on whichever platform you use. And of course, feel free to share us on social media. We'll be back next week with more adventures in the world of Tellus. To tide you over, you can read more about the cast, characters, and the world of Tellus at adventuresedgerpg.com. And if you're headed out on your own adventure, be sure to ask your companions what they're skilled at.